Just wait. Good morning, everyone from New York. I'm just waiting for everyone to get into the live. Hello, everyone. So I just wanted to say that after a successful IGTV that I did with my Dr. Louisa, and we got so many questions and they were so diverse that we decided to do a live series that is all about women's health in general and about the gut, about optimizing the gut. So I'm very excited. I'm waiting for my go live. Hey, Louisa.
Sweetly. Hi. Hello.
Hey.
Hi. Hello. Hello, everyone.
Everyone's
Good to
tuning
see
in.
you. Good morning for you.
Good morning. It's afternoon in Amsterdam, right?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I hear you. I think there was some lack of internet. Yeah.
Yes. All right. How are you today? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. The
Yeah.
sun is shining, and I just had a beautiful walk with Billy, and I had breakfast, and it's Friday, so I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing, Louisa?
I'm great. I've got my Creative Friday, which means that I can do any creative project that I like, and it always really makes me feel balanced and grounded on a Friday. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm
You told
really
me that.
sorry.
You told me that the other time. So for people who don't know, Louisa, every Friday she has this creative day. She has this off day and she just does something creative. And I find that so inspiring. I still need to plan that in, but it's really cool. I really like that idea.
Yeah, it keeps the creation going. Otherwise, it's just work, 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 do, and then there's no way that you can ever come to any new ideas or any new insights.
Yeah,
So that's
so
fine.
good. Yeah,
So let's get started.
yeah, let's get started. I think everyone's tuning in right now.
So do you want me to start, sweetie?
Yeah,
Good.
I want you to start.
So as like Claire said, there were so many great reactions and so many questions that we realized that we had to do a series, and we had to also cut down some of the subjects because there were so many questions, not only about bloating, but also about hormonal health, stress, anxiety, everything that has to do with the optimal well-being of women that basically we wanted to address. So that's why we're here, and today we're starting with basically an introduction into your journey very much into health. As I was wondering, because I know your story, and I always found it very interesting that you have not always been healthy and things have not always been easy. And we also wanted to talk about things like what happens when we're stressed out, and something that I remember very clearly when you came to see me as well, there was like stress eating, and the binging, and the I must have this right now. And I think so many women know this. I mean, myself included. I know that when I stress out entirely, I just run for the cupboard, and that's something that I really want to address because I think it's very important to get the tools on how you can also tackle this stress binge eating cycle that we sometimes find ourselves in. So on that note, let's get started, and just let's start with your journey, babe, because like I said, I remember you came to see me, and let's just start with, you've not always been healthy, right?
No, absolutely
No.
not. So I grew up, for people who don't know me, I grew up with a hearing impairment. I was deaf until the age of 7.
You were deaf till the age of 6.
Yeah, so I didn't have eardrums on both sides. And I always had issues with my ears, so they really never understood what I had. And then with the age of 7, they found out. But in school, they thought I was very stupid, like dumb. But my dad knew, because when I was playing with other kids, he knew I was smart, and he knew how I played with kids. So then I got an operation on my right side, and I got one eardrum on this side, which works, and on that side, it doesn't work, but it's still like I read lips, as you know, all the time. And I hear a bit, and I hear.
How much do you hear on either side right now?
So this is like 9%. It's like zero, like literally nothing. And then this one is like 40 something. It depends. Like I feel it's getting worse. So I don't know right now the exact percentage, but it's not much. That's what I know. But
And
it's
I
okay.
mean, did you feel as a child that there were things that you couldn't do because you were different, or you, because obviously you can't hear until the age of 7? So how does that affect your childhood?
So, well, imagine like growing up in school. Of course, I was always like, I think I was one of the dumbest kids in class because I just couldn't keep up. I was like, reading started for me with the age, I think I was 10 probably when I could read properly. And teachers always said that I couldn't. Like most of the teachers didn't really believe in me, and that was in primary school, but definitely also in high school. Which makes me very insecure. But on the other side, I had my dad who always believed in me, and he said you can make from every weakness, you can make a strength and get the energy out of it. And the more people say you can't do it, the better you're gonna do it. Like the more energy I got out of it, and that made me where I am now today. So I'm also thankful for people that didn't believe in me right now, because it made me strong.
Yeah, and I mean, it is a difficult position when you're so young, and children can be so tough.
Yeah,
But not often, not only children, but teachers, for instance.
yeah,
Uh, they have a big influence on the imprints that we have when we're younger. And when I remember that my math, my teacher in I think it was 7th grade, something said, "You're not good at math. You can't do this." And I always thought I was stupid just as much. I think so many of us have this. Just
yeah,
one person has to say, no, you can't do it, and you just start believing it, and you think that that's the truth.
yeah,
And that's why it's
yeah.
great to have people. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very thankful that my dad pushed me to the limit in a way, like in a good way,
Yeah.
and was always supporting me. And I think, yeah, I was very thankful for that.
Yeah. Made you
Uh,
stronger, if you can
it made me
say.
stronger, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and after high school, I went to London because
Mhm.
obviously, like my teachers, I was very bad in English. I was very bad, like literally in everything, and I just felt that if you start talking and start like connecting on the age of 7, you really feel that you like miss so much. And I really wanted to connect to people, so I moved to London, and then I got exposed to so much, like such a big city, and
Yeah.
it teach me so much. And I got you start to getting more self-confidence because people understand you and you connect to people in a different language. So that made me very confident. And then after, so I did London College of Fashion in London, and I was very good at in my class in my class, but
What do you think made you good at it?
I was so extremely motivated. I
I
had
think
like
I think you still are.
I'm still, but I remember I always said I'm gonna be the biggest competitor of Mr. Ortega, like the owner of Zara. I always said it when I was younger. I always said it. I no doubts. And if teachers were like, what are you saying? I was like, no doubts. I'm gonna be the biggest competitor of Zara. I just believed in me, and that was so I think my strength in a way, which is cool. I'm still I still have those dreams. I'm just a little bit more quiet right now.
Yeah, you gotta dare to dream big. That's
Yeah,
important. Absolutely.
exactly, exactly. And then I moved back to Amsterdam because the teacher said that it was better for me to stay also a little like young and to be like a little like to be that child and that student because I was 17 and I was surrounded by women who were like 30 and like older. So they just said like go to Amsterdam, do Amsterdam Fashion Institute, and come back if you want to. So I went to Amsterdam Fashion School and I studied fashion and management.
Hmm.
But obviously that was such a it was so strange because I had to listen to teachers and I had to, you know, so this is the fashion industry and I had to think in the box and I couldn't really. So whenever I say something that was like different than what they thought, then I don't know, it was very tough for me, and I was very bad at listening. I just was very rebellion, and I wanted to go through my own path, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And then I did a minor inspiring leadership, and that changed my whole perspective in the fashion industry. And I missed that psychology, that marketing kind of side in my school, and that leadership. And I wanted to be more on the leader side than the leadership side, rather than just the fashion industry. And that made me where I am today. It's a little bit of everything I'm doing now.
And what was that, and how did that affect your health?
Well, I finished Amsterdam Fashion Institute, and then my dad said to me, you have 3 months to prove yourself. And I was so extremely driven. So those 3 months, I did everything. I literally took every job. I was traveling in 2017, more than 350 days, something around that.
350 days of travel a year.
Yeah, that was the 1 year that I completely got exhausted, and I think I lost myself in a lot of ways.
So how did
Yes.
because just take me into that journey for a bit. Your dad says, just go for it. You got 3 months to prove yourself. Like any child, you do everything for the approval of your parents, right? It's so important for children that their parents are proud. So then you just start working your ass off. You got 350 days on the road. And then did you feel exhaustion coming? Did you feel that there was like a downward spiral, or was it just all of a sudden boom?
I think in a way I think I felt it, but as so many dream jobs coming in, I didn't listen to myself. I completely lost myself in that way. I just went on and on and on and completely lost who I really was.
How did you know you lost yourself?
Doing things that weren't me, asking too much of yourself. I didn't sleep well. I lost a connection with a lot of friends. Mm-hmm. I lost a connection also with myself. But I remember that one of my friends said, Claire, you're really like slow down, and something is going very bad. And I was like, oh no, let's do it. And then, yeah.
And then physically, did you notice anything in your body?
Well, I lost a lot of hair. That's where it started. And I had this, I remember that I was in the shower, and I like washed it, and there was like hair coming out, and it made me very insecure and stressed, but I didn't want to talk about it. So rather than talk about it, I just went like go and like asking more about myself and travel more and do more. Further. Yeah, way further to the limit. I think beyond the limit. And then I remember I lost the connection with friends. I lost my connection with like my bed. My gut was always bloated, extremely bloated. 2 times I went to the ER. How do you call it?
Emergency room. Yes.
Yeah, and then I kind of knew, but you just don't want to listen. You just go. And I don't never give up. So I just thought, my body can handle it. I'm super stubborn. I would never listen. So yeah.
The point where your strength becomes your weakness, right? Everybody's strength is their weakness. If you're so perseverant and you just keep on going, you just know that at a certain point that always turns its back on you.
Yeah.
But to realize it, that's tough. To actually say, hey, I'm not doing well. This is not good for me. To actually be honest about it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you had no choice. I mean, like I said, I remember you coming and maybe you had no choice. It was just your whole body shut down.
Yeah. I couldn't do anything anymore. And then I came to you, and you helped me so much. You helped me listening to my body. You helped me becoming more conscious. That was the one thing that I've learned, and still, like, you inspire me that during the day. There's always a moment that I think of you, because you made me really conscious of my breathing, of who I am, and in feeling my body, and listen to myself rather than be lived by the society trap.
I think we all, and it's so beautiful you say this, because I think we all find ourselves in positions at some point, sometimes, where we feel that we do want to, you know, be a certain person or live up to a certain, you know, way of being, or being successful, or being that loving person, or being that caring friend, and all these things that sometimes just make us leave ourselves a bit. And to not, you know, like you say, to listen to the body. What is it that that body needs? It tells us everything, right?
Yeah.
It tells us
I think that's the biggest journey I still go through that, like starting listening to my body. Like once you, for example, now work comes in, so I'm like busy again, but then I still like, it comes back, and I'm like, no, I have to listen to myself, and it's back, you go back and forward, but there is a way. Like I feel that I'm kind of finding that path.
And it's training as well, right? It's training to listen to that. We all understand that we need to hit the gym to get abs, but we don't really understand that we need to train that awareness of listening to the body when it talks to us. We often just think, you know, the body, you know, just headache, annoying, you know, I'll just take a pill, just go away. But it's actually a sign. It's actually talking to you and saying something. Absolutely. And what would you, because somebody asked the question, like, what is, what's your secret to success? What's your secret to, let me say, to do what it is that you do right now, whilst trying to stay in touch with yourself? Like you say, it's a journey. Nobody knows exactly, right? It's process and progress. How would you say that that is for you? Well, maybe you just said it, maybe, but what's the secret, if there is a secret?
I really think to learning to say no. I think that, and that I'm still not there yet, but I think learning to say no, it's probably the biggest secret and the biggest tip I would ever give someone. But I still need to receive it too, because I still haven't like accomplished that. But I think learning to say no, and really to like, it's hard, because I always say that never take no for an answer. So it's really like hard to, on the other side, I say never take no for an answer, go for it. And then on the other side, I have to learn to say no. So that is my battle that I go through every day.
What you're talking about is the say split, and also the two-way path of radical self-compassion, where you feel that you have to choose for you because you want to be compassionate towards yourself and say, you know, maybe today I'm not feeling that well. How about I don't go out for dinner with my friends? I say no. It's okay. I don't have to explain to anybody when I say no. You know, a no for you is a yes for me, right? And then that's the compassion you have towards yourself. And then on the other hand is radical self-discipline, where you sometimes have to say, I don't feel like it, or I don't want to do it, and I will do it. For instance, going to the gym, or, you know, something that may be a little bit more tougher. So when we have that compassion on one hand to really choose for ourselves and say no, again, a no for you is a yes for me, and it gives you that feeling of containment, right? It stays with you. And sometimes it just feels good to say no. And then on the other hand, to have the discipline to not take no for an answer, and to go for it. It's that ultimate balance. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I remember you said the other day to me, you said, remember, you never miss anything. If you don't be at the party, if you don't be at a certain event, just realize and just remember, you don't miss anything. And I started to realize that even more. Like, most of the times you actually don't miss anything. It's just that you keep your standards so high and to yourself, and you just want to be there all the time and everything.
Yeah, you go FOMO on your own ass.
Yeah.
And the joke, I always believe that I would always tell myself or my girls, I would say, if you were supposed to be there, you would be there. It's like, if you're supposed to be there, you would be there. And if there's an experience or some information, or maybe the man of your dreams that you're missing out because you're not there, That's impossible. Whatever is
Yeah.
for you will be for you. Whatever experience is for you will always come to you. And
Yeah.
there's nothing you need to do for that. You just need to feel like, do I really want to be there? And then just go like,
Yeah.
okay, this is either a hell yeah or it's a no.
Yeah.
And you know that, right? We know
Yeah.
when we don't really want to go to that dinner party and we don't
Yeah.
really want to stretch ourselves. We know it.
Yeah.
And then to be super genuine to ourselves and say,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not doing it. No, not doing it.
But it's also, I feel, a part of growing up. I think when you're younger, you just, and you prove to self, to others, and to yourself, and you just, wanna like be having fun and all that things. But then it's really hard. You lose it. I think when you're a teenager, you kind of lose yourself, like in a lot of moments. And then once you become older, I realize now that I'm so much more confident and I know my worth. I know that if I'm not there, it's all good. And yeah, you told me that. But I'm curious, what's your journey? Because you never actually told me.
In
Your health
healthcare,
journey. Yeah, your health
health
journey.
journey.
Yeah. Why did you become a doctor?
Why did I become a doctor? I think when I was a very young girl, I always used to be in nature, and I used to do these really weird things of getting little branches and poking them into frogs and dead pigeons, thinking that they would start to live again, thinking that I would resuscitate them with my branches. I tell
Oh
you,
my
that
God.
never happens. There's not a job in this world or a frog that I ever was able to revive again.
Yeah.
It just never happened. And then in the last class of primary school, there was your first aid
Yeah.
lessons. First aid lessons, so cute. And I got to put a band-aid on my best friend. And I thought, this is it. And I remember coming home and I ran to my mom. I said, Mom, do you know what I did today? I put a band-aid on my friend and I loved it. I loved it. And then sort of like you can't deny then that is something that you want to do. You want to care for people. You want to make it better. That's number one, to make it better. And
Yeah.
to really, help them, but to have education in that. So then
Yeah.
I did my whole what's it called, high school, and decided to study medicine. And I got in, and that was a difficult thing in Holland because you still had to do all you have to
Yeah.
have the grades and everything, but that was all fine. So I got in, and yeah, I just, oh, and also I'd always been working in these old people's homes, wiping their ass and everything. And that was, people were like, why would you want to do this? And well, it's beautiful to take care of people, and I really love
Yeah.
it. So then I studied medicine at the VU in Amsterdam, and then I started to do my PhD because I was really interested in how the contractions work in women's uteruses when they are giving birth to babies. Because we didn't really understand, like, why does one woman have a baby when the baby is ready to be born, and the other woman has a baby when the baby is not ready to be born? So to dive deep into the molecular genetics of that. And then I went to Harvard,
Yeah.
where I started to design organs on chips, to test drugs basically on these organs on chips. And they were making a human on a chip. So I said, if you're making a human on a chip, I want to make a woman on a chip. You know what?
Yeah.
Why don't we know anything about the female reproductive organ here? So that happened. And I remember sitting there in that lab, and I was just, pipetting and doing all this cell work and looking at these uterus cells. And I loved these cells because they were like my babies, they would grow and it's really interesting, fascinating work. But all of a sudden I was sitting there, I was thinking, interesting. All these people around me, they're working their ass off, US culture, Harvard,
Yeah.
go, 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 work, work, work. Myself included. I was on the job 24/7. And Harvard is a very competitive environment, right?
Yeah.
Then people are not always very nice to you either. And I'm a pretty sensitive person. And for me, to be in such a competitive environment, all of a sudden be in Washington and, talk with the US government about the projects that we were doing. I mean, it was stressful and it was amazing, right? It's always
Yeah.
the two. It's the two. And I realized at that point, I was looking at all these people around me, And I was also, you know, back in the hospital sometimes in Amsterdam, and I was working with these pregnant women. And I thought, like, why don't I really know anything about what makes you feel good? Because I know that I didn't always feel good, but my body was healthy, right? It was all functioning. I didn't really have any, you know, physical symptoms. I would be tired, but not much. And people around me would not necessarily feel good, but they weren't sick either. So I thought, from my doctor's mind, like, how can it be that you're not sick? Because that's what I have learned, right? Medicine. You diagnose symptoms, pills.
Treat and let go,
But then why don't I know what it means to be optimally healthy? Like, from mental health, physical health, emotional health, what makes people healthy and wake up in the morning and go, I'm ready. I want to live. I feel good. I've got energy, vitality, balance, everything. And nobody taught me. That's just not in your curriculum, you know? And right now, really cool. There's a lot happening for instance, in Holland as well, where they put lifestyle medicine and positive health in the curriculum. So I decided to leave academia behind because I wanted to educate women on health and not just disease. So I said, Harvard, thank you. AMC, thank you. They weren't really happy with me, but it had to happen. And I educated myself completely on nutrition, Ayurveda, everything I could get my hands on, you know. I was already a meditation teacher, but then I also became a yoga teacher. And I thought, how does this stuff work, right? And became an integrative medicine specialist at the Academy of Integrative Medicine, started my own practice. And then I started, you know, seeing beautiful young women such as yourself, realizing that there's so much more to health than not being sick. And that is where the whole body comes in. I mean, you can eat as much broccoli as you like, but if you're in a shit relationship, you're gonna feel really bad, right? It's everything. If you don't like your job and you don't necessarily know how to change it, you're not gonna feel good. So ultimately, health to me is about how you feel during the day. How do you feel? How do you feel? It's the only question. How do you feel? And that, I think, is beautiful, because then everything changed. And then I started, like I said, my own practice, and I started to do all these lectures and did the women's wellness program for Tommy Hilfiger, spoke at a lot of universities, and and I do these events and everything, because sometimes you got to just change your mind around, right? And that's why I founded the core. That's what happened.
You help so many. You have so many friends, like myself, but also so many friends of mine, like colleagues, like so many people that I know. And we always talk about, like, Louisa, and you're such a good listener. And I think if any one of the listeners is interested in a coaching session, definitely go there. I think, Louisa, you helped me so much, and you have so many friends of mine. And I think you're just the person that really brings you back and connects you to you again. And that's really
Well,
but
it's very simple, you know. I know that you know your body better than I do. I mean, you've been in that body for maybe 30 years. You've been in that mind for 30 years. You know what's going on.
I remember that we had that chat about, like, living in America, and your experience, and of course your sister too. And so when I moved to New York, you guys already, like, said it to me, like, Claire, be careful, stay true to your, like, and I completely lost myself again. You know, when you move to America, I don't know if you realize that too, but if you move to America and everyone is saying, like, you can be whoever you want to be, like, go make your dreams come true. And then I had, like, my family, like, they had, like not my friends and my family, and you wanted to do good for them, and like, everyone has expectations, and I had expectations, and I completely lost it again. And and then since I'm starting talking, and I think I had that call with you. Do you remember a few months ago?
Oh yeah, I was in San Diego for Tony Robbins as one of the leaders, and I was leading some of those groups. And I remember I was in my hotel room, and you called me. And I was still in complete, you know, Tony mode, which happens if you go to these events, for those of you who know it. And
it's a dream.
And you called me, and I remember you were like, Louise, I'm lost again.
Yeah.
I'm lost. What do I do?
Yeah.
How did
Yeah.
you know? I mean, I know, but maybe for the viewers, how did you know you were lost?
Was how I really noticed is that I don't take care of myself when I'm lost. So I start
Yeah.
eating bad, like as in I started not taking care of myself. I start not living consciously. I start not listening. So when someone would call me or anything, if someone would say something to me, I wouldn't listen anymore. I would just be in my own mind, like working, working, working. Um, and I realized that I feel disconnected to my body, as in, you just go in this roller coaster. You go, 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 and then you don't live the life. If I would think every night I practice myself like those three things that I'm grateful for, but every single night I would be like, oh yeah, it was a little croissant, or it was a little, I don't know, like, and I wouldn't be something that I've experienced. It would always be food, or like, something that is not related to like really being happy. And I always had to think for a longer time, and that it was just too many things in a row that happened. And then also my work, I think a lot of people who don't realize is that the job I have is just an exhausting job. Most of the times you don't sleep in your own bed. You're always on this trip with like different people. So you have to be the best version of yourself, because you're your personal brand. And you're not just like, hey, this is my company I'm working for. No, I am my brand. So I have to look good. I have to be good. And I have to like work my ass off. So that just cost me my health in a lot of ways. And I remember when I called you, it happened again. I felt it immediately. I was on a trip and I wasn't really myself. And like, I, I don't know, I felt that. And then I called you and I said, why do I live in New York? I
Yeah.
always said I want to live on a beach with dogs and a simple life. And now I have this like expensive life. I'm surrounded by all this designer stuff that I find beautiful, but I don't need, it's not the core of being happy.
No.
And then you said, okay, but imagine, you brought me back to that moment. And I think you were also one of the first one. You were the one who made me realize that I really needed to change my life. And then COVID-19 happened, and I got forced to change. Like, you get forced to change it. And I think
I
it
think
had a
many
lot of
people
good.
have had that experience, right? But many people probably
Yeah,
also are watching. You're like, well, all of a sudden, I knew some things weren't working. Then there's COVID, and then you're like, oh my
yeah,
god, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Huh?
yeah. Yes, and you realize how sometimes you're just stuck in this superficial society trap.
Yes.
It's all about, you work, you earn money, you spend it. And America is very status orientated. It's very much about what you have and what you do and who your friends are. And I find that sometimes hard, because I don't care about how anyone looks. I just care about your heart, about your soul, if you're a good person. And yeah,
But sweetie, this is so tough, right? I mean, when everything that you do is always about the external, the looks, the way people perceive you, the way that you come across, if you're not doing your
yeah,
job, well, you're not going to get the money. If
yeah,
you're going to be judged 24/7, because it's such a, external job that you have.
yeah,
And to then, say, okay, I really, I care about people's hearts. That is something that you can sometimes not even, you can't really see that, right, through
yeah,
this screen. I mean, we can sometimes feel it, right? I think we have great sensors.
yeah.
But to, sometimes be in that position of, and also maybe the label, of being, influencer, what it is sometimes a bit looked down upon.
Yeah, it's really hard. I just said to Flores, we had this trip we went to upstate the other day, and we met this couple. And when I talk to older people, well, not
They don't
older,
get what
but
you do
like,
in the first
no,
place.
no, sorry.
Like, you do
Yeah,
what?
well, no, but I mean, like, when I talk to people that are like 40, 50 plus, and
Mhm.
I would describe what I do, they would always be like, what my husband does. They're like, oh my God, like, that's amazing. And then what I'm doing, they always look so down on what I'm doing, whereas I am so damn proud of what I did. And,
You could,
you
you
know,
should be. You should be. I
yeah,
know
but
how
I think,
hard you work and how hard you've
yeah,
worked years. Yes.
yeah,
And
yeah,
just
it's really,
never comes easy.
Yeah. And then, you know, corporate people, they don't understand the work. They just think that you make photos or whatever, which is, yeah, it's very underestimated and very, yeah, it asks a lot about your body and your health. And yeah, I
I
always
think
say there's never a day I'm not working, but there's also never a day I'm working. You know, I
interesting.
love, yeah,
Yeah, but you're always on the you're always on the hook. You know that is um, that you're always, like I said, it's so external. I think
yeah,
when when you're in this world, it's also so exposed,
yeah,
as if everybody can know everything about you,
yeah,
and we're also not just as much. I mean, it's not my job, but you know, I can only imagine that we as human beings, we also need a lot of privacy, and to, for
yeah,
instance, you know, go through, if there is something that's changing in your life. I mean, it's not like your life is only good and only fun all the
yeah,
time, right? And
of
to
course.
really be able to process it without having everybody maybe see what it is, I
Yeah,
think that is a huge challenge. And I think you're doing that very well, because to balance some privacy with exposure is very tough,
yeah,
especially if it's your way to make money and if it's your way to actually, you know, have a job.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank God that now everything becomes more real and more personal and more, you know, it's more about who you are rather than like what you have. It's getting there. I feel that a lot of influencers realize that um, it, it's also your strengths to show your personality, and you can help so many people. Like I don't want to be that girl that shows what all I have and like all this amazing fancy hotels and restaurants I visit. I also want to show them that I'm also suffering and I also have my journey and I also have like everyone else.
Because
But
what, yeah, tell me.
yeah, you ask me how do I feel, how do I see, like how do I realize that when I'm lost? And there's
Yeah,
also one thing I told you, that's the binging. So
yeah.
whenever I had it yesterday, by the way, I'm just like craving candy and I'm craving all these bad stuff, and it's not that bad, but it makes me sick. I'm just very sensitive.
Yeah, you're gonna get sick in your stomach again.
Yeah, I started eating meat all like suddenly. I haven't eaten meat in a long time, and now I'm like eating meat all the time, and I'm just like such strange cravings.
It's almost like you always already feel the disconnect, right? To
Slowly.
slowly
Yeah,
build. Like you
yeah,
know, when you're deeply connected, when you're at peace, when you're calm, maybe like for those of you who've ever been to some yoga retreat, you know, the days afterwards, you're like, ah,
uh,
and you're completely zen as a poodle,
mm,
and you just only crave greens and you want to be healthy and all that, or after a juice cleanse or whatever, and then all of a sudden, you know, stress kicks in again and life
yeah,
kicks in, and you know, we have to all of a sudden do all these things again that we know are nice as well. It's not that that's, you know, bad, it's life. It's
yeah,
just, you know, very, very, especially with stress, right? When we, like we explained the other day, when we've got stress and you're based here and all of a sudden we get a trigger, and it can be a phone call or a boss or anything, and we get that trigger, we go up in our stress cycle, and then all of a sudden, when we don't actually relax, stress cycle continues and we start to make cortisol. And cortisol eventually is the hormone that creates the cravings, right? That's the whole thing. It's super physical as well. And when I think about these cravings, it's really interesting, because what I see often is that it is very much related to your mental state, right? If you are stressing out, I mean, everybody's experiencing stress these days. It's not for COVID-19, it's for having a freaking, you know,
yeah,
difficult, you know, maybe sometimes high demanding job in a rat race. But to really feel that, to understand how that works in the body is maybe nice to know, because when we eat something, okay, let me break it down. When we
yeah,
eat food, there are, the components of food are very simple. It's about four things. Food contains carbs, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and vitamins and minerals, right? Other
yeah,
nutrients, if you will. The carbohydrates are the ones that are being transferred into blood sugar, aka blood glucose. That is what we
Yeah.
use in our body to get energy. That's what goes to the cells, to the muscles, and that's how we can actually perform, if you will. So what happens is when we give the body these carbs, there's this difference. They always talk about like fast carbs and slow carbs, right?
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, do you know what the difference is?
I don't really like the one is that takes longer time. Like for example, brown rice is slow carbs, and then the rice. But I don't really know what's the process of that in the
Well, it's
body.
basically when you have like fast carbs, you can imagine if you drink a sugary fizzy drink or eat white bread or something, it's
Yeah,
very easy because it's not a complex carb. It's very easy for the body to transform it into sugar. So you get a glucose spike first. That's the first thing that happens. And then insulin is the hormone or the component that gets the glucose into the cell. That's all you need to
yeah,
know. So what happens is you have a fast carb, the glucose goes up like this, boom, immediate, because it's so easy for the body to break down into sugar. And then when there's a slow carb, it takes longer because it's more complex, right? The molecular structure is like my hands like this, way more difficult
yeah,
to unravel.
yeah. I
That
lost
was
you.
my
Yeah,
mother.
I'm here.
Uh,
Yeah,
and then, so what happens when you eat? Glucose goes up and insulin goes up. So then when you have a fast carb, if you will, or you drink a fizzy drink, your glucose goes up and the insulin spikes literally. And then the body all of a sudden goes, maybe after you may have had this when you've had sugar and an hour later you're like, I want sugar.
yeah,
Because you crave it again, right? You crave it again. Why is that? Because the body makes the insulin and the insulin is waiting for the glucose to come, but there's no glucose coming. So then the body goes, okay, I need to eat again. So very simple.
it's just
That's why they call
addictive.
these insulin spikes. Yeah,
Yeah,
makes it a bit addictive. Yes, insulin spikes. And cortisol and insulin work together. So when you got stress, you're going to get more of these spikes as well. So very simple to balance the glucose levels in your body, to eat the slow carbs, to eat 3 good meals a day. I'm not telling you anything new, but it's just sometimes good to remember, right? To really not
yeah,
skip meals. To
yeah.
really, really make
But what
sure
would
that you
you?
eat those carbs.
So, so what would you recommend, for example, binging? For like, for example, yesterday I didn't feel good and just wanted to cry, and I
Yeah.
had some good chats with my friends, and you have those moments that you really want to cry.
Okay, but
So
this
I
is
had like,
beautiful. Here you
yeah,
say it. You just want to cry. 9 out of 10 times when we start a binge, we're either trying to fill up some emotion because it feels empty, right? We want to fill something. We want to either,
ah,
fill something up because there's an emptiness or some other stress. It can be boredom, it can be anxiety, it can be depression, it can be, this racing thought. It
yeah,
doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's your body being out of tune with itself. And often at times what happens with the eating is that we feel that we're high here, right? Or we feel low, very low, and we want to fill something up. But the question really is, and this is what we'll talk about intermittent fasting in the next one. We talk
yeah,
about what is really interesting is that when you want to sort of break that cycle, first ask your body. This feeling you just said, right? You just feel like, huh?
yeah,
And you actually just want
yeah,
to cry. But that's
yeah,
already your answer. If you actually just want to cry, then that's an emotion that wants to be felt. Often at times we use food to repress these emotions, right? So we don't feel it. So we distract ourselves from not feeling the emotion that wants to be felt. Maybe there is anger, maybe there's sadness. So what you can do when
tiredness.
you feel, oh, sweetie, often so tired, yes. And when you're tired, your body is craving some sugar or something, and it thinks then I'll
Yeah,
spike it then. But it
yeah,
is 9 out of 10 times the most important thing to ask yourself first off, maybe am I thirsty? This is a form of, am I thirsty? If you're starting a binge, often at times we don't necessarily know the difference between being hungry or thirsty. So just drink 2
yeah,
glasses
yeah,
of water. That's the first one. Drink 2 glasses of water. And then ask your body, what do you need? What do you need? It doesn't need 6 kilos of sugar. It needs probably to feel something.
Yeah.
What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And this can be anything. It can be just to take a couple of breaths. It can be to connect to somebody, to know that there's this one friend you can always call and you cry, and that's exactly what you should be doing. It can be walking up to your husband and saying, hey, please hug me. I feel
Yeah.
empty, I'm sad, I feel like shit. Please, come and hug me. It can
Yeah.
be that you are completely stressed out and all of a sudden, you're like, okay, I need to make sure that I get more insight. I need to plan my stuff out because it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it's a sign. It's a sign when we start this craving. It's not that the body is like, oh, I'm gonna, be annoying to you and just, have these
Yeah.
binges. But what is the emotion that's underneath it, right?
Yeah.
Just really, really, really wanting to feel it out. So if
And
you,
how do
for
you?
instance, next time when you
Yeah.
feel like this, walk me through what happens.
So what happened most of the time, okay, this is really bad, but most of the time I get influenced by, so I feel, for example, like these days I really miss my family and my friends, for instance, and I see
Yes.
all those Instagram
So you
videos
feel
and
the,
stories and
you feel the emptiness.
yeah, like, yeah,
Yeah.
in a way I feel, I miss them, just, I haven't seen them for so long in real life and I just want to hug them and like, to
Yeah, of
really
course.
feel them.
Yeah.
So what happens is I go, so I'm on my emails and then I'm going on Instagram and I'm scrolling and scrolling and then I see stories, I see other people eating candy or I see other people, eating like, I don't know. And then I'm thinking of that and it goes on and on and on and on and on. And I feel like I really need love. I just need a hug and I just need that confirmation, those confirmation words.
Yeah.
And then I, instead of going to my husband, which I should do, I just say, no, I'm going out for a walk or I'm going to do some groceries. And I'm going, I walk away from, and I
What you
just doing
mean?
some, yes, and then I'm going eating candy. And most of the time I call this one friend that we really enjoy candy and we always talk about it. So I always call her and then I call her and then we would like, have a good chat. And then it just goes on and on and on. And at night I had another craving and then another craving. And in the morning I had cravings again. And then it doesn't stop. And now it's 6 weeks in a row and I haven't took care of myself. And then before you know it, you're just, losing yourself bit by bit and the binging starts and, you don't work out anymore because, you feel heavy and you feel like
In the
I'm
down
not,
spiral.
yeah, you go down, down, down. And before, you're just, you don't sleep anymore because you're overthinking yourself. And yeah, and then you start drinking. That's also my thing. So whenever I feel bad, I say to myself, come, let's drink some margaritas, or I will make, like, I don't know, I will buy some nice wine and then I enjoy that. But I don't really enjoy that. I just want to stay away from the problem.
Want to numb the feelings then, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are the feelings? What do you feel?
Misunderstood. Uh, and also, my problem is saying no. I'm the worst at saying no. I always try, but then, you want to help and you want to support and I always want to help everyone. So I'm like, yeah, why not? Send it to me. I will help you out. And that often brings you in situations that, if you say yes to one, you want to help everyone. And then, my house is full of stuff and clothes and things that makes me like nervous. And doesn't give me like rest. And then it just become one big mess.
Yes. But then you lack clarity. You don't actually, when you say you feel misunderstood, it's actually interesting because you lack the understanding of yourself at that point, right?
Yeah.
And there's the emptiness, right? From the missing of the family.
Yeah.
And then when these three go to work, because you got to take them out again. Just got to look at every
Yeah.
one of them. So tell me, what do you need to not feel misunderstood?
Well, to be connected with myself.
How do you do that?
For me, that's working out and living healthy. That is for me my number one, because then I very conscious. I do journaling. I work out only 15 minutes or 30 minutes a day. I am very like I set all these little goals, which
Thank
eventually
you.
get me to
Thank you for saying little goals, because what
yeah,
happens often is that when we are being, going down the spiral of not eating healthy, of not feeling good, of not being, in our healthy spiral, just as much as there's
yeah,
everything spiral, that we get further and further away from it, and it looks as if it's very big, right? Very big,
yeah,
far away from us, not something we can do again, because we feel and often put the bar so high of, if we're going to work out again, we got to do this every single day. And if we're
yeah,
going to eat healthy again, we got to eat completely healthy. And if we're going to do breathing again, we got to do it every single day. Meditate your ass off. That
yeah,
stuff. And that's why I'm saying it's amazing that you mentioned the little things. Those
yeah.
very small little things. Because what would be one little thing that you could start doing instantly again, to just be very, very compassionate, soft with yourself, knowing that there's no one to blame, knowing that you didn't do anything wrong, knowing that it's just a phase and every phase passes. What you can start doing for yourself again, slowly, easing into feeling good again. What could you
Morning
do?
morning meditation and journaling. That's a life changing.
That's where it starts. And what do you need to be able to do a morning meditation?
Not really anything.
Do you need a phone? Do you need to sit somewhere? Do you need space by yourself?
I just sit. I put the door balcony open, so there's fresh air coming in. I just sit there. I mostly listen to a YouTube, just random YouTube morning meditations, and I choose depends on my mood. But I don't take my phone. That's one thing that helps me a lot. Good that you remind me of this. Um, by not taking my phone in the morning, definitely
Yeah,
the first half. Yeah, I try hour, but mostly it's the first half hour. I
yeah.
don't use my phone. I go journaling. I go this 3 minute morning meditation. I work out, and then I walk Billy. But
Yeah.
that hasn't happened in a long time.
Okay, so
Oopsie.
then what's the smallest thing you can do that can be the easiest thing that you can start doing again, maybe even after we hang up this phone call? Easiest, simplest to get yourself easing into feeling good.
Breathing.
You tell me, sweetie,
Medi-
what it is for you.
for me, it's journaling. But I started on Monday,
Yeah.
and then I didn't got my goals every day, and then I was like,
I love
yeah.
you. I love
Sorry,
you.
I'm.
This is how
Yeah,
it goes, right? We're like, all
yeah,
right, I'm going to journal, and every wellness blog says that I should be
yeah,
journaling, and I'm proud. And then you don't journal
yeah,
for 6 weeks. You're like, fuck, I'm a loser. I can't even journal. What can I do? And that's where the
yeah,
inner critic comes in. And then you just got to be soft, because then all what happens is to go, all right, sweetie, you fucked up maybe, or didn't even fuck up. It was life. Life gets in the way sometimes. And then you
yeah,
didn't journal. So what, you didn't journal? I mean, there's worse things in the world than we did in journal. I mean, champagne problems.
yeah,
And then when we are super sweet to ourselves, we go, all right, honey, like a mother to a child, we go, sweetie, come on. You remember you like doing this, right? It's like when your child loves baking cookies and go, come on, let's get back into it. And you're just going
yeah,
to be sweet around it and soft towards yourself and say, hey, how about we start journaling again, regardless of when was the last time? I mean, who cares? And then we just start journaling, and just maybe it doesn't have to be 4 pages. It doesn't have to be a novel. Just write a little bit, knowing that you showed up for yourself again, right? When we talk about self-confidence, it's the confidence we have in ourselves, trusting that we can show up for ourselves.
yeah.
So something like just a little bit of journaling, would that feel good to you?
Yeah, I did it this morning.
Yeah.
I always feel very journaling is for me such a relief in a lot of ways. It just a little reminder, and then during the day when I wanted to do something that wasn't that's not gonna support my little goals, then it's just a little reminder. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And also, I think that one of the beautiful things, and I know I've said this to you as well, one goal can be to not have to do it all in a day.
yeah,
It can be a goal to just take it on an 80% and not 100 or 120 even. Sometimes a goal is a goal towards feeling good, and often at times we have an association with goals that are forward, but we can also have goals that are inward. When we have goals that are inward, we are going to go to less is more. And maybe
yeah,
a goal is to have no goals. Maybe a goal is to just do whatever the fuck, sorry my pardon my French, you like to do that day. Whatever makes
yeah,
you feel good, right? That can be just as much of a goal. And
yeah,
to take the 80%, because 9 out of 10 times when we go into 120 mode, the body is going to feel stressed. We're going to be disconnected from our emotions, and we're not going to be able to feel what it is that we really need to know. Because the body talks to us all the time, and it knows exactly what we need.
yeah,
And we just have to be soft sometimes and calm,
yeah,
just calm down. Take a deep breath in, breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth.
yeah.
Let's do it for 1 second. Just breathe in through the nose. And one more in through the
It's
nose
so
and out through the mouth.
it's so
And there's
strange
sometimes
how
that's what we need
breathing,
to do.
yeah, breathing has so much impact on your life, which is free
Yeah. What we do
and it's
every
the
day, we forget to
easiest. You
do it.
always have it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the ultimate way to reconnect the mind and the body, right? It's between here and here. It's
yeah,
the way that we connect the brain and the heart. It's the
yeah,
fastest way, the only way. When people say, "Oh, I lost connection with my heart," I'll say, "Start breathing." It's
yeah,
right there, you know? I
yeah.
mean, it's
You
maybe
always
only
have it.
maybe only 20 centimeters, but it's the longest journey some people will ever take.
Yeah. I
But it's
sometimes I use like cold water on my
yeah,
like I do like cold water when I am stressed or like nervous. That helps me also.
yeah, that
Louisa,
helps.
I just see that the time.
We
I
gotta
think this
go.
life is gonna. Yeah, we gotta go. Thank you so much for listening to me and teaching me again.
With
I hope you guys liked it. And next week we're gonna talk about bloating, about the gut, and about what else, Louisa?
next week is, I believe, home remedies for gut health. Yes.
Yeah. So we will talk about the journey, and we're going more into the information, so more informative than the journey. But we will use examples of our journey. Thank
Yeah,
you so
same
much.
10 a.m. New York, 4 p.m. Amsterdam
Yeah,
time. All right.
yeah.
See you next week.
Have have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, you too, darling.
Bye,
Love you.
Louisa.
Bye, sweetie. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye bye.